Hi, welcome to another video on my Arduino Mega2560 with a couple of electronic circuits. In the previous episodes I put some electronics together for RC circuits, RLC circuits, and some transistors to have some motors working. For instance, this motor with chain, this motor which can be controlled by using a potmeter, and then these two motors that are attached to an RLC circuit with some transistors, as already mentioned. Also, digitally speaking, some 3 LEDs that flash exactly the opposite of each other, and at times some things go wrong, as is the case right now. Some problems are easy to solve, as I showed in the past that this transistor at times has to be pressed on to make better contact, and then this motor will work again. The same happens with this potmeter. At times I have to press it to have this motor work. Something that you have seen in the past, when I short circuit this transistor, this capacitor, this motor runs, and then it stops and the LED dims. The only thing unusual right now is this motor. When I started the whole circuit, and when I turn up this potmeter, this motor usually starts running, and no, it doesn't do it now. When checking the transistor that was here, it failed completely. It broke off, and irreparably, because one of the connectors, more specifically the base, was torn off broke off at its package. Then, since I use NPN transistors in these circuits, I had to find one, and that didn't help. So I wondered, was it the motor? So I changed the motor, swapped the motors, and it just works. So, the question is, what is the problem? The only thing I can think of to find out quickly is to measure the voltage over this transistor, and it's better to give you a look at the multimeter. So here we have the analog one again, and putting the probes on the transistor, and you see the needle going up. So that is not the issue. But then the question is, of course, what is the issue? And the 5 volts is quite logical, because This connector is 5 volts, providing the coming with the USB, which is 5 volts by standard, but it provides also the upload to this board from the computer. This one is also providing 5 volts, so if I don't have this one, I need this one. And to run the motors I need some voltage, and 5 volts should be sufficient, but I do it this way anyway. Question is, with 12 volts, why isn't the motor running? And of course I can slow this down. Then you hear only this one, because this is controlled by this one. And here you go again. So the mystery of today is, why doesn't this motor run? On these connectors from this motor it works. So it is a kind of mystery, and I intend to solve this. So with the knowledge of the voltage on the transistor, the question is the voltage going to the motor? And first thing I want to check, or actually replace, is this jump wire, which is actually the connector to the ground. So let me take out this first and put in this LED. This doesn't do anything at the moment. Let me turn it around. Hoping that it works anyway. There's a bit of a problem right now. And that is a disadvantage of weak wires. They're hard to connect. At times very hard to connect. That is one, that is two, and it doesn't show anything, unfortunately. What I can check, of course, is the voltage over the LED. So one here, one there, and yes, it does show, although not that much. So once again the multimeter, and then once again, and yes, it does show, although not very much, but that's not necessary. only point is it in the right direction? And I really need to check on that, and I think I should turn it around. This should be the correct, but it doesn't show anything. Let me try another one. This one should be working. Otherwise it would mean that I have a few broken LEDs, and that is not nice. Okay. I can try just another one. And I don't think they are all broken, but let me just readjust the camera, then you know what I'm doing. I reinstate this jump wire for now. Then I connect the motor and I check the voltage over the motor itself. Much quicker, much better. So let me turn it to the voltmeter again. Plus and minus. That one. And it doesn't show a thing, which is very weird. So, as you can see, there's no voltage over it. So that is the first thing I have to check out. So with the knowledge that on the connectors to the motor there is no voltage, the only thing I can do now is measuring the wires. So first thing to do is lift the wire. And there's nothing. Let me show you. That's always better than telling. So once again, one, and it doesn't show anything. So then it is time to show for the mass and what is coming from the motor. There is voltage on it, so I have to reverse the probes. That's 12 volts. So what is on here? 12 volts. Here's 12 volts. Here's 12 volts. And sound when I try to do the resistance. So I put it here, and then now I'm going to measure resistance over the lines. This one in combination with this. Yes. Full connection. And this with this is full connection. So there's voltage, and the wires are more than okay. So then what is the problem? I swapped the motors. Measured everything. I've checked the wires. It should be running without any shred of a doubt. So why isn't it doing that? Let me once again short circuit this one. This motor is running. There's no doubt about it. That motor is running, and you can clearly hear this motor with the chain. So this is kind of a mystery. If I short circuit this, did you see that? A very short movement here. I will wait a bit, and again, and that wasn't before. So once again, pay attention to the blades, to the propeller. This is very, very peculiar. And I have no idea what to think of it. Just didn't happen before. What I can do is remove all power, start up again, and see what happens then. So let's see how that works out. So let's start with removing the USB for the data. Now you can see that it runs immediately a lot slower, but that's because I removed 5 volts. And that motor runs slower, and that motor doing anything hardly. But I don't mind about that. Let's remove the 5 volts from the power supply. Now it's not doing anything anymore because there's no power. Letting it rest for a little bit. And applying power again. That is one. Here an LED is powered on. And you can see this is working again. This motor is working. Let me check if this is working again. So this, I'm going to short circuit the capacitor. It just does a little bit. Is this fully turned on? Yes, it is. Then I apply the 5 volts from the USB. That is one. I'm not quite sure you noticed it, but the right side fan propeller worked immediately, and there it goes again. And this one, no such thing. It just does not work. And I have no clue what else I should try. Maybe a short circuit again, right here. And that was a short movement. That's not what I expect. Do I miss any connection? I can only find out by looking back. This connection is there, this connection. Then from the base of the transistor right to the capacitor. Then from the capacitor to the inductor. From the inductor to the resistor, resistor to the wire, and here the wire to the board. So from this wire to the board. But everything, despite checking, is applied with voltage. So I am really kind of clueless. Why isn't it working anymore? What I can do is swapping this one to there. So let me do that. And then right here. So then short circuit. There you go. Short circuit here, and a very short movement. So it definitely is not the motor. And I need to figure out how, but I don't know where to start, because the electronics are okay. Power supply is okay. A big riddle. In this whole story of motor not working with the rest of the circuit being alright, the only thing I can actually think of is that the connectors do not make proper contact. And what I have noticed is that the contacts with this motor are quite firm, while here they actually slide out easily. So what I want to do is actually improving them and see to widen them a little bit. And this one too. So let's see how this works out. They don't slide out easily now, but neither does it spontaneously start. So let me turn this thing off. That motor is of course working because that is the other potmeter. This motor works, and this motor should work. Yes, LED burns, but that's all ancient history because that already worked. How about this? And yet again, a very small that was something completely different. So how did that go? I think because of the better contact in the motor, but then again, previously it just ran and kept running. Is that because of a different transistor? Possibly. But then again, it has always been like that, so why the sudden change? And now, when I short circuit the capacitor, nothing happens. Here it just works. So, can I repeat it? Does another short circuit help? Not really. And when I hold it, it doesn't help for a bit. So I'm not quite sure about the cause of this. Is the different transistor? Well, it is different than it used to be because it was a type S9014 and now it is what is it again? I think a C548B, different type, different manufacturer, but it is an NPN and that's what it is about. But its properties may be different, so the response may be different. At the same time, I think this is as far as it could go. Improved this a little bit. Everything else is in order. This still works with this motor. There's not so much, although it ran one time fully. It looked like one time. Anyway, I think this is this must be, or must have been, the solution to this problem that suddenly came up, and I think that's the conclusion of this episode. So I had to replace the transistor because it broke, and for some reason now the motor behavior is totally different. And unfortunately I can't just replace it because I don't have that other transistor anymore. So thank you for watching, and to be continued.